we are committed to this struggle. We are committed, and that is why my president, we attended the National Union of Chemical, Leather, Footwear, Rubber Employees, NUFLAPE. They had their 6th delegate conference of their union in Premier Hotel Mokola, Ibadan. I've just returned from that conference. They are rounding up this morning. So, and at that conference, we advocated the need for Nigerians across the various sectors of the economy to join in this struggle, because there is a saying that when you dare to struggle, you dare to win. Right. We are committed, and by the grace of God, we shall overcome. Victoria Asata, you are welcome. Thank you.
Speaker. And he has to talk to nationwide strike and mass actions commencing September 28, issues and way forward. I will speak as a Nigerian. I will speak as a realist. I will speak as a lawyer that I am. I was encouraged by the enthusiasm and positivism of the optimism of the first speaker. But I think I have a bit of a different perspective. Nationwide strikes and mass actions. Will it work? If you ask me whether it will work, I will say yes. But I think the more strategic question, the more valid question to ask is, can it work now? I will not say it can't work now, but I doubt it. We'll be asked to look at the way forward and what are the issues. The issues is not just whether the fact that the government of the country is not governing the country, but misgoverning it in all ways, economically, financially, politically. That's been the habit of government in Nigeria. That's not the issue. The issue is that what are we going to do about it as the victims? As I've entered the hall and I've seen all of us here, I was just looking at the industrial estates and all that. How many people are suffering? 99% of Nigerians. How many Nigerians are bothered about the suffering? 99% of Nigerians. How many Nigerians who are suffering, this 99%, are prepared, are interested, are committed to end and change and redeem the suffering? Less than 10%. I'm not talking about people grumbling. People can grumble. I'm not talking about people dreaming of spiritual intervention, running to one mountain of fire, a big mountain or whatever, or going to redeem camp, waiting on one angel Gabriel to come down. It's of course not going to happen. But that's the average Nigerian for you. The government, the oppressor of the people, actually the haters of the people, they have the system, they have money, they have the force of coercion. And what do we have? Those of us who are whether radical activists, whether we are progressive welfarists, whether we are moderate centrists, whatever we are, even socialists, what do we have? I'm talking as a Nigerian people who are progressive minded. We don't even have money, and we don't even have the balance of terror. We are even not like Boko Haram. Boko Haram has the force of terror. We don't even have that. I think what we have is fancy English that I'm speaking now, which people call rhetoric. The only hope we have, like the gentleman who spoke last, is the people. The consciousness of the people, is it arisen enough? And when you are talking of the people, not even of the masses, you may not even know the dynamics of what is happening. I'm talking of elites. All of us here, you are elite, at least intellectual elites. People who operate on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and all that, who've been to tertiary institutions outside of secondary school. I'm a lawyer. The dream of an average lawyer is to have a big chambers, to have a big house, and to dress well, attend dinners, and speak English with the governor. That's the dream of average lawyer. That's the dream of the average medical doctor, the engineer, the journalist. The journalist here, this gentleman here, I'm so sorry. You know, this is not your dream. You want to be that big publisher, and you want to talk with governor, become press secretaries and all that. And this is the situation that is in front of us. So what do we have? I would say we have two tendencies. I've spoken briefly with Comrade Awilema about 10 days ago. There are people like him and like him, Ayo here, of the Socialist Party, that we just have to do actions, and that is good. We can't just put our arms and be waiting for a time when it will be right. You have to hasten the process of participating in the fermentation of the process of citizens' rebellion. All what we're going to do and planning from several 20 is nothing than citizens' rebellion. But you have the capacity, and I agree with them. Left to me, I've studied this situation. Ordinarily, this government, ab initio, is a fraud. And like a bird cannot fly more than the span of his wings. This government must continue to fumble and to fumble and to fumble. This is the truth. They can't even help themselves. Yeah. They must fumble. But our people are already like the children of Israel who spent 426 years in Egypt. They are used to the onions of Egypt. And that's how you are complaining. Even when they have a superhero, which we are not, that is Moses, who was actually a terrorist. With due respect to the Christians here, he was a terrorist. You know it, go and read your Bible. It could be spiritual terror, but he was a terrorist. We don't even have terror. You mean you just go to Aso Rock and say, let my people go, and revert to 140 or 120 something, put down the tariff and everything? You can't do that. This guy went there and said, this, if you don't do this, is going to happen. You've committed economic sabotage the agriculture, brought down the snow and hail, and committed, in fact, genocide, killed the firstborn of calling the name of Jehovah, God Almighty. I know if you have called Ogun now, they'll say that is abomination. But firstborn of some people, entire empire died overnight, and they drove them away. We don't even have the terror. So what do we have the hope on? I want to say something. I've been studying the Nigerian problems, the Nigerian situation. You find out that the bourgeois, wicked, imperialistic, and very stupid bourgeois policy of Nigeria is very popular. Unlike progressive politics, the evangelism of progressive policies, which all of us here ostensibly believe in, is not popular. The representation of the bourgeois politics, I understand, there is APC, PDP. If Aremu goes there, the situation is looking, he's been suffering for the past 30 years. If he goes in there and the rest they will not vote for him. They will still vote for one stupid APC person, one stupid PDP person. And people are rejoicing in Edo State. Obaseki defeated Tinubu or something. They don't know anything. Nobody has defeated anybody. It's after by next month, 2 months now, you find out that those people complaining again. Because there's nothing between Obaseki when he was under Tinubu, what is his name now? Oshiomhole. And now that he's not under Oshiomhole and he's under terrible camp, you call it terrible camp, there's nothing new he's going to do. My own concern, can we build? Can we, when we say that we are different from them, and you know, the bane of us as activists, whether revolution or whether radicals or not, that when we now come to any form of governance, we became like them or become like them even worse. Can we attempt that? I think people have turned to do one Labour Party, but I think it was too big. If there's nothing to replace, there's nothing to show our people, they will never believe. Why can't we do something? Even if it's a one show or somebody, take one local government and use it as a model. I'm proposing this. I don't think it's a novel idea. all of us, don't look for state power, don't look for state level power or federal government power. Showcase something that this is what these activists can do. Our people are very, very poor, and then we are not doing enough education. That's the spade work. That's why I'm so impressed with the core people, some young people. And let me openly acknowledge and show the influence of these young people. I saw them in the rear and everything, trying to do perfecting, trying to teach our people. It is the work we need to do. When we go out, and then finally, I must add this. You say, what is the way forward? Let's keep this country one. The idea of separation, secession, will not work because the Nigerian in us is so when you splinter to anything you want to splinter into, you'll find out that the Nigerian elite is in control. Is it Oduduwa? You'll find that. Is it in the north? If you have lived in the north, the poverty rate is even worse than here. All this tribalism and religion is just the elite, and they don't have that among themselves. So this idea of separating, that's where we find solution. You can't find solution there. You say, did this, what happened there? Your property was there. 1.something trillion spent over 16 years or whatever. All the gains struggle of Adaka Boro and the Kaisari Wiwa and other people, it's been squandered. Who are even squandering them? Not southern people in control. It's just the elite. So what I'm trying to say generally, gentlemen, is that when we mobilize for 27 or 28, the back of our mind that we are just ripening it. We should be hoping, and I know that hope, and we work. Buhari is not even alive, speaking sociologically. And this government, you can see all the kind of foreign ministers, they must continue to fumble. So don't expect 160 to stop. It's likely to be something like 250 or 240 by next year. Rice is going to increase, all these things are going to increase. But those of us who are here, tell your friends, stop defending bad policies because the person is from your tribe or the person is your party person. All those parties are not parties, so these are evil forces, worse than even the colonialists. So that as we are doing what we want to do, combined with education of the masses, and then let's at our organizational level, strategic level, let's see what we can do and capture just one local government and use that as a model. And thank you for your attention.
Now they say the only way now is to privatize refineries. And I'm saddened that Nigerians are defending that. My concern is not that they are saying it, because we know what they represent. After the first president who made that statement himself has shareholdings in the discos. He was one of the discos. And we know what they are doing with those discos, how they are screwing us with the so-called discos. I don't want to go there now, because that will take at least 1 hour. I want to start talking about the criminal thievery that the privatization of the private power sector has made. So we know what they represent. But I'm worried when ordinary Nigerians now begin to re-echo that. Yeah, it's true now. We should just deregulate. These people can manage it and so on. But the point is that since Babangida started in 1986, they have actually privatized 500 state-owned enterprises. And by the admission of Bureau of Public Enterprises, who manages the entire process, less than 15% of that are functioning today. And here you keep telling me that's the only way that we work. And you keep doing it, it's not working. The privatized National Bank, where is it? One of the Owena Bank, owned by Lagos State, Ondo State, where is it? The one owned by Lagos State government. That was, and this was, some of them are doing pretty fine. They privatize them, where are they? And you keep telling me that's the only way that works. That's the only thing that will work. They privatize Daily Times at the peak of his performance. Where is Daily Times? The only thing the guy did was to go and sell Daily Times property in London and make 5 times whatever money because of it. And people keep repeating this nonsense. And that's why what Barrister Ogunlade said is so fundamental. We ourselves need to get our strength. We need to understand this society. And now it is being run. It is beyond the bad roads you see. It is about the money they are borrowing and sharing. People we have got who did in school because of 10%. Said 10%. If you listen to that speech, our enemies are the 10% and the tribe, blah blah blah. Now people read budgets, steal all the money, borrow money, steal borrowed money. Contracts awarded, never performed, and re-awarded, and we are all in this country. So for us, I think it's time we begin to ask serious questions. Now to the issues at hand. You increase fuel price, you increase electricity tariff. At a time, we are just coming out of lockdown. In other parts of the world, including so-called developing countries, with much more lower social and economic indices. We have governments at least saying we are suspending rents for people. We are going to bankroll payment of public utility tariff for people. We are going to give some people some emergency cash grants for a period of so months, so that people can tide over this harsh period. That is the time our government has chosen to increase prices of these critical public goods that have ramified multiplier effects on all that live in this place called Nigeria. That's the implication. And the argument is as silly as it is an insult on our collective intelligence. The argument is that you have to do it so that private sector can come. You know, and you look at the record of this private sector. Who steal our money to establish private airlines? Where is Okada? Where is Bellevue? Where is ABC? Where is Sosoliso? Were they owned by government? And you keep telling me that's the only thing that works? If something is wrong with them, something should not be wrong with us. So, and you want to tell me that the only way now is to sell refineries? How are the other OPEC countries managing it? Iraq was one of the founding countries in OPEC. They are fighting war right now. And they are not exporting product, petroleum product. Go and check it out. South Africa has 4 functional refineries without a single drop of crude. And it's owned by the state. Go and check it out. Algeria and all the rest of them, they own refineries. Egypt has little crude, but they import more for their 5 refineries. And they even export petroleum products. And it's all owned by the government. And you come here and you tell me it's only when you privatize, when all your previous privatization have not worked for 40 years. Labor, I trust, will do the basic. There will be a strike. But the best possible outcome is for the prices and the tariff to be reversed. But honestly, if we achieve that, we have achieved nothing. The least we should go to this battle with is that this government, and they did promise, they promised that they will fix the refineries. Where Atiku said, Atiku was honest, he said we will sell. And we know what Atiku has always represented, he doesn't pretend about it. These elements say they will fix it. And they reminded us that Buhari actually supervised the construction of the second Port Harcourt refinery and the Kaduna refinery. He has that experience, blah, blah, blah. Almost 6 years after, everything is run down. In 4 years, they spent $36 billion to import petroleum products. That's enough to do 5 brand new refineries. They spent close to $1 billion turning around the existing 4 refineries, and yet none is working. And then the NNPC director had the effrontery to come and say, we are still studying why these things are not working. There's something about it. For heaven's sake, the chemical engineer told me that the process engineering that gives you a building is actually what is also the same practical, the same technology you need to build a refinery. And they are turning to rocket science that they can't even repair. And somebody says studying the situation 20 years after, and yet Nigerians seem still to be confused about what the real issues are. So for me, going into this battle is about getting a commitment. How they will do, whether we to be written or whatever, in the list of that those refineries will be fixed and within stipulated period of time. Because it's at the bottom of the so-called increase. As long as it's not fixed, you continue to have the increase. Because tomorrow, when the dollar becomes 600 naira to the dollar, then definitely, and you are still importing, you are going to use dollar to import. And they will increase the price now because they are going to sell to you in naira, and the naira will devalue. So it will keep increasing. So there is no end. And why is the naira falling every day? Because we are producing nothing. Even yam is being exported crude to bring back pharmaceutical grade starch in Nigeria 60 years after so-called independence. And we have hundreds of thousands of trained chemical engineers, microbiologists, industrial chemists. We are importing pharmaceutical grade starch and exporting crude yam. Comrades, gentlemen, it is time we call a halt to this nonsense. It's time we begin to ask the critical questions. Otherwise, like the barrister said, our children will come back to say, you these people, or in about 160 years time, 100 years from now, 160 years after independence, some people will ask, how can it be like this? But honestly, I doubt if we will survive even the next 40 years to make 100 of independence, if we continue like this. Thank you.
We just came, and it was collected by a billionaire. That has been the story of privatization and PPP. Oh, what do they call that one? Lekki, toll gate, or whatever they call it. It was eventually bought back. We have the road. We have to buy our road back from some foreign companies. That's exactly. Do you understand? That is the story of how these elites are colluding. By the way, if you don't know, there was a loan involving African Development Bank, and African Development Bank, for all of you that doesn't know, is actually the biggest shareholder in African Development Bank is the United States government. During Adesina's fight, you get to know some of how these things are intertwined. It's just an ideology not to make us move forward. And we now have a willing government who does not think about how the Nigerian people can benefit from our God-given resources. Whether it is oil, whether it is water, whether it is land, we are so blessed, yet we are so poor. I mean, I'm not going to speak to anything other than what is the way forward. For me, number one, comrade is about how to remove mutual suspicion. We started from somewhere. All of us got our teeth from student union, NANS. Or as you see, most of us here, we were one something, or even some of us are backbenchers in NANS. And that was very important. We cannot allow the students, can't leave them behind in this struggle. We must find a way to locate them. For us as a civil society, let me use the example of my organization. Our campaign model is to work with labor. And for anybody that is following the campaign on the National Water Bill, you see, when you see OPTA, which is the union in the water sector, you see CAPA. But we did a joint statement, and it has been like that. Civil society must locate labor again. That was how we were able to fight for this so-called democracy, because we don't have another name to call it. Then, I don't even know, because we cannot call it this one democracy. How do you call it democracy that when we organize, they say we are hallucinating? Have you ever studied the language of this government anytime you are trying to oppose them? Oh, you don't even understand. You don't even understand. They think we're just fools. We can't read English language. We're hallucinating. You know, you say, oh, that bill, oh, no, regardless of what they are doing, we are moving ahead. Can you imagine all Nigerians saying reverse fuel price? And the next thing they will say is privatization has come to stay. Wait a minute, you don't even appreciate us. You don't even appreciate us. It's supposed to be 181. Have you forgotten? That was the first thing they said. Yeah. And that we were so generous enough to put it, and that is the kind of government that does not even place any value on the citizens of this country. And I said this, that since this government, if you go and check the value of your Nigerian Nigerian citizenship is depreciating gradually. To the extent that even our neighboring countries that we used to buy vehicles for their police will continue to harass Nigerians because your stature outside Nigeria is derived from how your own government treats you as a citizen. So as Nigerians, we have to come back together and reclaim the public space. We've got to get this government to know that you are sitting down there on the basis of our existence as a people, and that is why you can even have a building called Aso Rock. And so when you are there, you must listen to us and represent our views. And you are not elected to continue to inflict pains and hardship on the Nigerian people. How much can your salary buy in Agege market today after the so-called increase in salary? This thing affects all of us. Bread Bakers Association, they told us that if we are not very careful, a loaf of bread will sell in Nigeria for 1,000 naira. Now, it's not selling for 1,000, but have you tried to buy 200 naira Agege bread? My 9-year-old boy will squeeze it like this and finish it too. At the end of the day, if you don't do something, we find out that possibly will be worse than slaves in our own country. I pray it doesn't get to that level.